Coach, I did the bot training.
Yeah.
I did it. I didn't want you to be upset with me.
Okay.
I,
Yeah, I
I,
did threaten to be upset with you. That is true.
yes, and I didn't want that, and it definitely helped.
A few moments later.
It's really cool to watch Ari apply what I'm asking him to apply and seeing it slowly but surely pay off.
Banana slam jam.
These are now regular matches in effect. I sent you a highlight video of the bot.
Yeah, I
once, or do you
saw like 4 or 5 minutes of the highlight video, so it looked like it was getting better.
It was getting better, and this is just me showing you the application and result of it. I thought that would be. I was pushing. So these are two things where. Can I just say, Coach, I should have done the bot matches ages ago.
Yeah.
I should have done this. I should have done this when I started my Dota journey. I should have done this. You changed your background, Coach.
What do you mean?
The background's different.
Oh yeah, I'm back in New York.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the photo.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, it was random. But I wish I did it. I wish I did it ages ago. I really did.
So basically, for everyone watching, just to make sure, if you weren't here last time or you didn't see the second video, we watched. Ari had his last calibration game, and I was basically backseating him during the game. And the funniest part about the game was afterwards, he's like, "Coach, that was so easy. Like all I did was like I was like 0-2-10, but it felt like I was doing something in the game, and all I had him do was exactly what I did with my Jakiro Smurf game." Which was just shove lanes over and over again and shove the right lanes. And basically what I told him is that I feel like I kind of taught him to run before he walked, where he's playing the map really well, but it's like a 9K player guiding him in a 1K player efficiency. So I didn't feel like your conception, like you were pulling well in the lane, you were doing a lot of things right, and then I was just watching you split push, and you weren't fairing enough clarities, you weren't giving yourself your items quickly enough, you weren't nuking like off cooldown very much, you weren't fitting in the extra like creep camps in the middle of it. Basically a bunch of mechanical efficiency things. And so I told him, I don't want you to worry about all these opponents. I want you to go into like 10 bot matches and just do exactly what I told you and try to do it as fast as humanly possible. And you said leading off, Ari, that this was you wish you had done this a long time ago. What is it?
I just realized, honestly, bots are like the best teammates because they always push lanes.
Yeah.
They're always pushing lanes, Coach. I'm just like, these bots are the best teammates. They're always pushing. I realized how my mechanics was a bit. I just went straight to just pubbing, right? All the time. That's just what I did. And I just realized how not very developed my mechanics were. And just the confidence in making sure that I know the order of my skills and I'm confident casting skills. And it's also what I realized what bots helped me do as well was getting confident to know how much damage I can actually make and how much damage I can actually receive as a hero. Because I'm just going back and forth with them and I feel confident to experiment. The tension and the tension of a ranked match is not there. So I'm just like, oh, this is what I can actually do. And I have 2 games, Coach. The first one is where it's successful, where we won it. It was a stomp. And it was me applying what you taught me, just pushing the lanes, ignoring fights. And then I thought the next game is me trying to apply the same thing as well, but losing the game.
Okay.
So I thought the losing would also be very helpful because I'm like, all right, Coach, I tried. I did exactly what I tried to do, but we lost. So I wanted to understand what we did wrong.
So,
or what I could have done better.
Yeah, so I'll try my best now to see what you're doing wrong, but also if something's going right, to make sure you understand why it's right. That's what I'm now going to do.
Absolutely.
So
Coach.
it's like, what I've been getting a lot of is there's been some people that are just blindly following me. and it's owning. And then there's other people that are blindly following me, and it's failing. And it's like, okay, so now it's a lot about you and everyone that I'm trying to teach growing together in a way where we start to understand the why. So first, I kind of need everyone to buy into what I'm trying to get across, like pushing lanes being like the most important thing you can do in Dota. And so I'm watching the lane. Only thing I would regret for you here is I would have queued up a stick the second year against Batrider. I think that's really important. Go ahead.
I learned that recently because of he's like a
Bristleback.
Bristleback. Yes.
Yes. So that's the one thing I would see here, but that's just a matchup thing I wanted to bring to your attention. Everything else you're doing is fine. We talked about the Legion Commander matchup where you're not very good against her because of how fast she is, as well as the fact that if she wants, she can remove your liquid fire. But the goal is now, if we're going to get you guys kind of blind following what I'm telling you to do, the thing is, there's rules and exceptions. So the rule that I'm trying to get you guys to do is like 90% of the time. And so it's also important to recognize the exceptions. And when I mean 90% of the time is, I mean, you're supposed to play top and mid 90% of the game. But there are moments where you have to go bottom. So if you don't do those moments, you're also going to like randomly, lose out on the game. So it's like, I am going to talk a lot about, I want people to be like, if I can't get people to go top first, I can't teach them any further. So now we're kind of at that point where we're getting people to get the why. So for you, a heavy limiting factor was the mechanics. You just weren't doing it fast enough. So hopefully we'll see that be a bit better now.
Chain pull.
That's the goal. Nice chain pull. Okay. You're staying away from the lane. This is all good. You're going to keep threatening the pull. This is great. Giving your Ursa as much XP as you can.
Yes, he's doing. This game I felt very happy about. Ursa was definitely getting as much experience as he could.
I think as a carry, one thing I did in my Smurf games is when you pull a lot, what's going to happen is your carry is going to end up tanking a lot under tower.
Yes.
Do you remember what I did?
Salve.
I bought a salve and gave it to him. And that's here you go, buddy. This is for all the pull camp gold and XP that I've been getting. Here's your salve. Because the last thing you want to do is give your carry more experience, but maybe he's missing a creep or two, and you're making him buy more regen.
Yes, right? Especially with these two right here. These guys are damage-heavy dudes. They were just going on him like so many times. Yeah.
So when you're buying your items, the next step now is to not only look at yourself buying the stick and the clarity for mana and stuff, but you also want to look at this guy. Right?
Yes.
And you see him,
I remember buying a salve shortly after this.
Okay, that's good. Better late than never.
Yes.
Very important that we are able to consider our carry and all the items we buy as well. We talked about like starting items a little bit, but now it's just like we're teaching you how to address your own regen issues. Now I want you to start thinking about other people as well, because in the laning stage, it's very important that you also take care of him. But this pulling is really good. Your offlaner or your carry is always going to outlevel if you do this. And then eventually you can come back to lane and kill them.
That's right.
Little tunnel vision there on the Batrider, but overall very good. Okay. Delivered him back to creeps.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
This Ursa was super aggressive.
Yeah, he's going ham.
He's going ham. He was just like, he was on, man. He had his coffee for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because in our calibration game, you had a jug running in and feeding, so it's like the same thing, but, Ursa's killing him.
But he's effective, yes. They were going with him, yeah.
So up until this point, the biggest thing is that you didn't buy a salve. It's actually really bad here, because the lane's going really well, except for your Ursa's been low health like this entire time.
I think it comes short. Here it is.
I mean, your Ursa ends up dying there because you didn't have a salve. So that's how I remember that, right?
I bought it late. Yep.
Still haven't bought it yet, Ari.
I
selective memory, my friend.
I'm sorry, I didn't buy it. I bought it after he died.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Tried to pull the lane.
So when it comes to pulling large camp, it's purely based off of where the lane is.
Yes.
And the lane for the large camp has to be up here.
Yes.
It's really just that simple. The lane has to be right here. So for you as a support, guys, when you're looking to pull the large camp or the small camp, The only way you can pull the large camp is if the lane's up here, because otherwise the creeps just walk into each other, and then nothing happens.
Yes,
So the reason why the hard camp is usually harder to pull for the safe lane is because you have to be like strong enough to push the lane out, and you have to be like strong enough to guard the pull camp itself, right? So in this case, since you're winning, you can, but you have to push the lane out further if you want to do that. Otherwise, you're stuck with the small camp. So it's like, I never want to see the lane right here again, and you're struggling to pull large camp. You're just wasting your time, right? You see that?
Yeah,
You keep trying to do it, which is like, I understand what you're going for, but now it's like you need to draw little lines in your head of like where the lane needs to be for the pull camp to work on both the small and the large. Okay, so your Ursa's... I'm sure he'll get salved eventually, right, Eric?
I will, coach. I eventually will. I remember at a point here that I did, but it was later than I remembered it. But yes, that
it looks pretty obvious when you watch the lane back. To like anybody watching or yourself, I'm sure.
He does need his salve for sure.
Honestly, the biggest thing about this is because he doesn't have health, you're stuck here babysitting him instead of like threatening pulls and playing away from him.
Threatening pulls.
You're literally stuck soaking his XP underneath tower because you're not salving him. It's like, it's not only for him, man. It's also for you.
Yes.
Take care of your boy, and you can then give yourself some golden XP, right?
I think this is the Bears. This is the Bears South. No, it's my it is my boots.
You're not buying him a salve, all right? It didn't happen. You're a figment of your imagination there.
He destroyed. He killed both of them. I TP'd out.
He did that with 200 health, Ari. Imagine if he has full health.
And he's about to do it, coach. See, he's about to do it with the salve. Check it out.
Oh, the salve.
Oh, here it comes. Justin, let me pull first. Wait, here we go. Check it out. Oh, here comes the salve. I get. There you go. I gave it to him right there.
That was like 10 health you gave him. That was impressive, Ari.
I know.
Okay, so
work on the execution, coach.
one little habit for you to get into is when you're looking to pull, you need to be like kind of monitoring the lane. So like right now you're monitoring it, and you're doing a decent job of looking. But like right here, you need to like see what's going on right here.
Yeah.
Right when you're pulling, right now, because it's like that's going to decide whether or not you finish the pull or like go do something. So you're actually doing a great job of checking, but there's like I want you to also check right this moment, right here. Yeah. It'll help you a lot in terms of making those decisions.
Oh, thank God he didn't die though.
Honestly, if you ignore the salve, the lane looks really good. Like the problem is though, your Ursa's been playing with low health for a really long time now. And it makes the lane a bit awkward. Go ahead.
Noted with the salve, coach.
Yes.
But we destroyed this lane. Like he was just hyper aggressive, and it just definitely. I wanted to stack for him before going top.
So I've got a question for you. We talked about rotating from your lane and helping your Mars get a kill and like such. Why do you think it's taking you so long to rotate in this game?
Because rotating up top.
Just in general, like you were in your lane for 11 minutes.
I would say that maybe it's me not realizing when I can leave my Ursa alone yet, or maybe because he was very low health, I was just there most of the time.
Yeah, I do agree that you felt attached to your Ursa because he was always low health.
Yes.
So this is a dynamic of the lane we're going to talk about. So is Ursa a hero that wants you to play with him? That's my question.
Is Ursa a hero that wants me to play with him? I suppose to help him get kills, yes, but his ult does help make him survivable. So he could.
If there's kills in front of him, you want to play with him, right?
Yes, to help him secure the kill with my stun, yes.
So if you can come up with a time that he wants to play with you, but it's not all the time, that's when you walk away. You just walk away, because then you're able to TP back. It's really important if there's a condition for you that you would want to come back, that you walk away rather than TPing. It's very important. So, like, as an Ursa, you've been helping him get kills, and it is a hero that can get kills. And by TPing away, you're basically saying to Ursa, you got to play passively for the next 80 seconds.
So you're saying I should have walked top?
Anywhere you go, you're walking.
Because Ursa is a hero. If it was if it were a void, then that's a different
If you have a
story,
void with no chrono, of course you just TP out, yeah.
It's just, okay.
That's the thing, is I asked you though, Ari, and you knew the answer. I asked you, is Ursa a hero that wants you to play with him? And you said he can get kills and I would help him get kills. You know the answer. And I'm telling you, if there's an answer for when you'd want to be with him, you have to walk away rather than TPing. Because it's a place that you want to potentially be.
Can I be honest here, Coach?
Yeah.
I do understand that these are things that happen and these are the details per hero. But honestly, the only thing that's in my mind, like within these past week or two, was one, making sure we win the lane, doing the pulling. I mean, these are the number one things in my mind. And making sure I'm pushing the lane all the time. Sometimes the details of when I need to TP and is this a hero that I should play with? Honestly, sometimes it just doesn't come to mind just because I'm just trying to prioritize what I need to learn for that.
What I am seeing is you are owning the first 8 minutes of the lane. Okay? Other than the salve, which, like,
yes.
We're going to fix that. Like, that's all I got to tell you. So what I'm trying to do right now is bring to your attention when you're capable of doing the next step. Like, once you feel like you can do what I'm telling you to do now on autopilot. Like, so now that you're, like, I want you to be able to do what you're doing in lane right now without really thinking too hard. Like, that's what my goal is. You're just kind of on autopilot to have the timing of when you're pulling lanes, when you're ferrying yourself items. The ferrying of items was a lot faster this time around. But the lack of salve is the only problem here, so it's like also identify, like, you got to get a little bit better at your region and your carry's region and stuff, but that's okay. So now what I'm telling you is there's going to be a moment in the lane where you have to ask yourself, does this guy want to play with me or not? And you could honestly set a timer for like 7-8 minutes into the game. Just like, you could literally have like a stopwatch that goes off at 7 or 8 minutes, and that reminds you to ask yourself that question. Because it decides whether or not you stay. And I've noticed a lot of 5-position players, they have this knowledge even at your level. Like, even at your level, a lot of them will be like, yeah, Ursa could get some kills. I wouldn't mind playing with him. It's like, in your other game, your jug was feeding, and you were really bad against Warlock Legion. So, like, that's a lane that you just have no desire to be around. Like, that, like... Why would we
leave?
Just leave? And that's when you can just TP. That's when you can just TP. Because we don't want to be there anymore. Go ahead.
Coach, let me try to understand this properly.
Yeah.
If he wants to be with me, if this is a person that wants to, needs me with him or would like me with him to get any sort of objective or in this case, get kills, walk away so that I have the option to TP back.
Yes. It's the same thing if it's defensive. Like, if you think he may need your help against a gank, but they would need to gank him first. And so, like, you want to be ready to TB when he gets ganked.
Ask at 7 or DM.
It can be defensive, too. It's just like, this guy doesn't want me here all the time, but maybe he wants me for kills. Maybe he wants me to protect him. Maybe he wants whatever. It's like... Maybe he needs my help defending the tower. The point is, like I want to start it with the most basic thing of asking yourself and making a guess, does this guy want me to play with him or not? So it's like next time at like 8, 9, 10 minutes into the game, when you leave your lane, you can tell me, Coach, I think he wanted me to leave.
And then at least...
Go ahead.
And you'd be happy that I would be thinking of that.
Yeah, I would be happy that you made the conscious decision, even if you're wrong. Like, I'm happy if you said, Coach, I think he wanted me to leave. And then we'll talk about it a little bit, because slowly but surely, you'll learn a lot of little things about heroes. Whether or not they're kill heroes, squishy heroes, independent heroes, like heroes that don't really want help. And we'll start noticing trends, and you'll start noticing how to support your carries properly.
Okay,
So-
wait, but say hello.
Oh, hey!
first. Hi, he's so big. Say hi, coach.
You've gotten
Say
so
hi,
tall.
Coach B. Oh, he says hello.
Hey.
Look how big he is now.
I wanna stand this up. If it's in this
Okay, he's telling you about his day. Say bye-bye. Okay. Oh, okay, he's so much bigger now. He's definitely a carry, though, for sure. He has a carry's mindset.
I believe
All
it.
right, son. He's super big now. Bye. The wife is a carry too. I think I'm the only one with the support.
Yeah, that's why you're. There's got to be supports and carries, man. You gotta have a little bit of both.
It's balanced. I'm getting them themselves.
But this is something hopefully we would talk about for like 3 minutes every game we watch. And you'll just slowly but surely get better at the decision. I don't want you to feel pressured to be right. I want you to feel pressured to think about it, to just make a choice.
Honestly, coach, this is like my first ever MOBA.
Yeah.
And I like ever, like in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I find myself like the way I'm learning with you is I really freaking tunnel with what you set me out to do.
Okay.
Within that week or everything. Like I'm just telling you how like I don't know if this could be helpful. But I tunnel with what you tell me to do. And sometimes the other things that we've learned along the way kind of blur out.
Okay.
Like, but it's just kind of, I know these are all gonna kind of mesh well together eventually in time. But that's something I noticed. Like I'm just like, the other things that we've learned tend to blur out sometimes because I'm just so freaking focused. All right, I'm gonna push the lanes. I'm gonna get my mechanics right. I'm gonna make sure all the lanes are pushed all the time. And sometimes these little does Ursa want to play with me or not?
I think you need to play the exact same game you've been playing, and at the start of the game, set a timer for 8 minutes. And at the 8-minute mark, it's going to go off, and you're going to remember to ask yourself simply because you have a large alarm going off right next to you. And you'd be like, okay, does he want me to play with him? Okay, back to what I was doing. You know?
7 or 8 minutes. I'm glad you said 7 or 8 minutes because sometimes I'm just like, I think I have it in the back of my head. I leave a 10. When 10 is
usually it's somewhere around 7 or 8. Like, that's what I would say.
Really?
Yeah, usually 7
I
or 8.
can leave it 7 or if they're good and strong, I'm like, all right, I can walk.
Yeah, watch my Jakiro game back. I'm like, okay, my PA's got 2-level advantage. See you later, nerd, and like walked away. Like that's what I said. Right?
That's a good indication. A 2-level advantage. All right, he's.
Well, yeah. If he's got a 2-level advantage, that means that at that point he doesn't need you, but then he might want you. Like that's kind of the way I think about it. Because if you've given your guy a 2-level advantage, if he feeds, like that's on him. Honestly, like it's on him.
Question, coach. Let's say you're going up. What would be the reason you would be? Let's say you're walking up on mid and you're walking up top, right? He has a 2-level advantage.
Yeah.
The instances where you would consider TPing back if you see him going on someone or if you see people going on him.
Usually, it's when they're going on him. But because like not only is it if you have a guy that kills people, if they're going on him, you can easily TP in and also kill them because his hero is capable of killing people. Usually, if your carry can't kill them, then if they're getting gone on, it's awkward to come back because you're like best case scenario saving them.
Yes.
But like that's why like if usually like more simple question is, does this guy want help getting kills? And if the answer is yes, you can walk away. If the answer is no, you TP away. Like that's probably the easier question for now. Like rather than all these other reasons, it could possibly be that he wants me to play with him. This is kind of let's break it down a little bit, one step at a time. So I'll say, ask yourself, does this guy get kills? And if the answer is yes, walk away. If the answer is no, TP away. So what I was going to say to you, though, is not always is it wrong. You have a spin off lane, very farm heavy. You have a Medusa mid lane, very farm heavy. And you basically have 3 carries.
Yes.
And this is something I like to ask myself, kind of like the Mars thing, before the game even starts. Like when I pick my hero. Because in the game itself, if you've already waited, you're usually too busy. Even I get too busy. But if I think to myself during the draft, oh, that's the guy I'll go play around. Like, as Jakiro, it's like, who pushes towers? And it's like, Medusa doesn't push, Sven doesn't push, Ursa doesn't push. So, I guess I'm doing nothing, coach. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's actually like you just have a really farm heavy lineup. So it's like
They were very greedy.
it wasn't
I was
actually
like,
flaming you for not leaving your lane. I just wanted to hear your thoughts because I wanted to talk about it. Because this game, you don't have an actual offlaner. You don't have like a Mars, right? You don't have some team fighting guy.
It
You
was
just have
Sven off lane. Yeah, I was just like, Sven, are you carry? He's like off lane. I'm like, okay.
yeah. Look at this. Like you're actually putting a little pressure on this, but it's actually super awkward. And guess what happened to your super strong carry that you could be getting kills with?
He's
dead.
He's there. He's.
You see, so
Okay,
like.
see, this is important. This is important. Okay.
So that's why it's like in my game though, or like even your last one where you don't do anything, it's like that's where you'll start learning, and that's why I need to ask you this. Like, can you help this guy get kills? It's like against your Warlock Legion you played against in your calibration game, just so you know, I can confidently tell you Jakiro doesn't do anything to those heroes. So it's like by staying, I'm gonna tell you to leave. Like I'm gonna tell you to get out of there. But like you have an Ursa, you guys have been killing them nonstop, right? Like you don't even have to know the matchup. You guys have been getting kills. So
yes, the entire time.
Yeah, so I would more so gauge it based on what's happened in the lane so far. It's like in your calibration game, the jungle was just dying over and over again. But in this game, you guys are getting kills, so that may be a good enough indicator to you that you're able to kill people, you know?
And that's a good enough indicator for me to which lane I should stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. If you combine now the beauty is you said it may all mesh together eventually. If you combine that question with which hero on my team pushes, you will nail every single fucking rotation you ever make.
Okay. And you know what, Coach? I coming from doing this, it's the rotations that are so important. Like I'm realizing how extremely important a rotation is. Like, it's like, I'm like, oh man, rotations are super key in whether or not you win a game or not.
Yep.
Like that's what I'm getting just from pushing the lanes or not. I'm just like, I swear if we moved properly here, we could have won this game, but because we moved here, we lost. Or because I moved here, we lost.
Absolutely.
These are the things I'm kind of like,
and if you're learning that slowly, that's like the dream, man. That's actually the dream, because that's like exactly what Dota is. Like that, like it's not something you're gonna learn by me teaching you every single matchup. There's gonna be matchups where you're wrong or you're right, and great if you're right. We'll talk about it. If you're wrong, we'll talk about it. Like that, like we're just gonna slowly get this better. But at the same time, you know, earlier I'm like, I don't care how well you know your rotations. If I see your laning stage sucks, I'm gonna make sure we focus on that first. But the only thing I saw in this laning stage was the lack of salve. Everything else you did, other than maybe forcing the big camp, which we mentioned. So now, like for the first 8 minutes of the game, you should tunnel vision, because it looks like your autopilot's pretty good for
it's getting there.
For pulling the camp and everything. You are nuking pretty well. You are harassing pretty decent. So at that point, your tunnel vision should be, where is the lane? So like if the lane is, if the creeps are meeting here, you're pulling the small camp. If the creeps are meeting up here, you're pulling the large camp.
Pulling the large camp, yes.
Right? And so that's your next step, because you're doing a good job of playing away from your carry. You're doing a good job of rotating back into lane. So now, if we get the salves and just the whole draw line here, that decides what camp I pull, you're gonna nail it. Like actually, that your laning stage is straightforward, like solid for 1K. Like I would already put you above 1K in the lane. But, you know, we're not going to be complacent. I'll keep giving you one little thing to get better at. Go ahead.
But the bots definitely help. And now, honestly, Coach, like one thing I would love to ask you from this is, I'm pushing the lanes. And I know what you said on our last session. You're like, if you only join a fight if it falls under getting an objective. But sometimes when I'm pushing a lane, let's say this is between like mid, like maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and my team is just fighting and dying, sometimes I feel that maybe I should have joined them, and that could have turned the whole fight around, because they're like just fighting, and you know, it's now 5 versus 1 because I didn't join them. Those are the things that I kind of try to understand, and I want to fine tune my decision making on rotating properly. Based on trying to get objectives.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here is your spellcasting's been pretty decent. And I told you I want you to pressure top. That's what I told you. So
Yes.
from this game, I want you to know, based on what like you're asking me right now and what I want you to learn moving forward, this is good that you came top. So what I'm now telling you is it's the next, at least this is my opinion. The next step for you guys is to realize whether or not you're supposed to walk or whether or not you're supposed to TP. And what I want you guys to realize is if you walk, you're stuck there. If you TP, you're stuck there. If you walk, you have other options. So that is something I just want you to realize.
That's super great. Like
notice how you walk.
That is super great.
Notice how you came here, and there was like this 2 minutes of limbo.
Yes.
Okay, where you're like, I'm gonna nuke this guy. I guess I back off now. Notice how you're like sitting here.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of this little, This is a great indicator that you don't want to be glued to this lane. That is like a great indicator that you're like, that felt a little bit awkward. Like I want you guys to trust your instinct that it's like, I can't just walk up to this tower and hit it. Like, that doesn't feel good. And almost every time you feel this, something like this is happening. So,
and I should be there. I should be there to prevent this.
You should have walked somewhere else, whether it was top or mid, doesn't really matter to me, and then been ready to TP home or TP back to your bottom lane.
Coach, so this is super helpful. This is like what you just highlighted. Whether or not to walk or whether or not to TP, that is such a good input that will apply to all different types of scenarios for me. Like, it doesn't matter what the game, it doesn't matter what the draft is.
The thing is, Ari, if you autopilot to going mid or top every single game, all you need to think is how you're getting there now. Like, I see you going top, and I think this is fine. I honestly think it would have been fine if you just kind of showed up to this lane and were doing what you're doing. But then the second bottom gets dove, you're TPing.
You're TPing,
Like, it was the exact same play you just made, except you had options. And so it's like, that's why I asked you if your carry wants help, and it seems like I'm maybe laying a big decision on you, but it's like,
no, this is so helpful.
You're already doing the right part of the map. Like, I see you going to the place I would want you to go, so now, since you're autopiloting that correctly, you're rotating to the right part of the map. We're just deciding how you manage to get yourself there.
How I get there, because I have options. Coach, can I ask a question here?
Go ahead.
The reason, just to give you the decision, the reason I went top is because I saw that my mid laner was still mid lane, so I didn't go mid.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, he's still mid, so I went top. That's one of the
And what I will tell you is Medusa being a very farm-heavy mid, something like Medusa or Arc Warden, these heroes are just going to sit in their lane a lot.
Just sit in their lane a lot. Great.
Yeah, the farm-heavy mid laners, like if you have like a mid lane carry hero, they're usually going to sit in their lane. Like that's just kind of how it is.
And coming from that, Coach, since Ursa's not someone who can, Ursa's someone who can kill, but not really kind of escape very well, right?
Yeah. He's got okay escape, but yeah, go ahead.
He's got okay escape. He can do his cartwheels.
Yeah.
And I can TP back. So he's an indicator where I walk there because this guy might need my help because, you have these people he's against. He could get in trouble, so I'm going to walk. But if that were like an AM, a Void, or certain heroes, safe lane...
You're going to start learning them, but you named two good examples, yes.
Yeah, right? Like if it was Void and AM, all right, maybe this is someone that I can leave alone because he can... If he gets in trouble, he'll be okay. And probably the only reason I would help an AM is because if nothing is going on here and I can see him, this is a chance that he can get a kill, he can do a chrono, I can put my micropyre and I could get a kill. Maybe stuff like that, right?
What you're going to learn is that there are matchups in the lane. There's matchups that you gauge going into the lane. So like certain heroes are favored against others. And a lot of that has to do with how their level 1 skills match up, how their level 2 skills match up, and all that stuff. And then what you're also going to have to learn is how their skills match up when everyone's level 7. Because that's like the 8-minute mark-ish, 9-minute mark. Is how do my carry skills match up against theirs when they're both level 7 or 8? It's like...
I like this.
So, like, this isn't something I expect you to understand now, but what my knowledge comes from is understanding how a matchup works at level 7 or 8. It's like Ursa, when he gets more points in Fury Swipes, he has a lot of kill potential. He does a lot of damage. And then Legion, she's going to get level 6, and she's going to try to duel somebody. So both of these heroes are like kill heroes. They kill people.
Yes.
So in a lane where both heroes can kill each other, that's a lane that I like to be able to go to. But like if you compare that to an anti-mage, he doesn't really kill people all that well. Like, who does anti-mage really kill? Right? So it's like
Squishies.
Right? Like maybe int heroes that he can use his ult on, something like that.
Yeah.
But so for you, it's like, I'm just telling you, you're going to slowly but surely accrue this knowledge of how lane matchups work at level 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then also how the lane matchup works when they're level 7 or 8. So it's like for us 5k players, 6k players that I'm trying to teach, that skill is really important. They don't think about that shit at all, but they're actually, like, I would consider good enough at that point to really hone in on that skill. I'm just bringing it to your attention that this question I'm asking you, like, does this guy want me there or not? Or, like, does he have kill threat? Is one of, like, the many one of the many factors that goes into that understanding. And obviously, we're not trying to make you have 5K understanding of the game yet. We're trying to make you have 2K, 3K. And so for everyone watching, I think it was really important now that we took a step back and you had to prove to me that you can do, like, if you're walking to the right lane, that you're actually casting your spells and fairing yourself clarities. I'm seeing clarities in your inventory consistently. I'm seeing you TP mid to help push it out. Maybe that's a bit extreme, but I don't care. Like, whatever. And you're buying yourself wards. Great. Like, you're flying yourself items the second you had some time to think. This is what I want to see. You were not doing this last time. So it's like... Go ahead.
Go on, Coach. Please go on.
So you're gonna D-ward where you want to play. This is great. Like, I would have already told you if, like, you weren't doing this, that what I would want you to be able to do is place wards wherever you're gonna play now. I told you order objective is top tier 1, then mid tier 1. This is exactly what you're doing. What I'm seeing there is you missed 3 CS in a row. So what you really need to work on is getting those CS, right? So wait, let me rewind this real quick. I want to talk to you potentially about a mechanic. Okay. Have I taught you A stop A yet? Have I taught you that?
Yes, I do that. I do A stop A. Yeah, I do that. I did that through last hit practice, but I noticed if you stop, it's a little bit faster, right?
Yes. So what I want you to do at the start of your day right now, like before you queue pubs, do like the last hit simulator with Jakiro or whatever hero you plan to play that day for 5 minutes. Like, just do it for 5 minutes and be like, I'm going to A-stop A every single one of these fucking creeps, right? Like, that's what I'm going to do.
A-stop A is faster than just a normal attack, right?
Well, the A-stop A isn't faster than a normal attack, but what happens is every attack has a time that it takes to attack. So, like, your hero attacks every 1.22 seconds. So any movement you do for 1.22 seconds is free. Like, you can just do that without having any backfiring on you. So, like, the A-stop A trick, it teaches you to, like, be evasive. Like, you're moving while you're CSing. Because if you're just attacking, you're standing in one spot waiting for somebody to just go on you. It's like, imagine trying to kill a guy that's... Like, if you're trying to ice path a guy, for instance, and he's just standing still attacking, as opposed to, like, attacking, moving, attacking, you know what I'm saying?
You're more limber.
Yeah, you're just being unpredictable. You're just being a little more unpredictable. So that's why I'm trying to teach you A-stop A as, like, a good habit to do, because for the most part, you should not just be sitting there attacking. Like, unless you're a carry with really fast attack speed, because then at that point, you're actually going to, like, attack slower because you're moving, right? But even then, you can usually move a little bit. Right, like, even between attacks, you can move a little bit. But since you're a support, you can move a pretty good amount since you don't attack very fast.
Yes.
So, I would just want you to get those CS, and I would want you to practice A-stop A. But this rotation's great. You're just doing your thing. People showed up, you backed off a little bit.
I gave it to you.
Look at this. You set up a rotation. Pushing the lane for your team. Maybe it didn't get a kill, but it's going to be mid-tower. Huge.
Yes, we got that one. Okay. Coach, can I ask a random question?
Yeah.
Who has a better draft? Because I thought they had a better draft.
Your draft's really greedy, but Medusa's actually really good against DK, because DK wants to take the mid tower, and Medusa kind of plants herself right in front of it. And then Ursa's really good against Jug and Legion. So there's a lot of like good individual matchups for you guys. And since your early game matchups are pretty good, and you guys have 3 carries, I would argue you're probably going to win the game most of the time with this draft.
So they had a better...
But like, it does require, like, these, I'm just telling you and everyone else, these like towers that you're taking are so game-changing for the game. Like, you have 3 carries and you guys have 2 towers to their 1. Like, you're going to win games that way. The only way you lose with 3 carries is the opponent takes all your towers and they have nowhere to farm. Because you guys lost all your towers. So, go ahead.
When you say 3 carries, Coach, an off lane isn't really defined as a carry.
No, you have a Sven, though.
Yeah.
Like, you even asked him, like, are you carry? And then he said, no, off lane.
Yeah, he's not.
Like, you know he's a carry. Like,
yeah.
When I say you have 3 carries, like, all 3 of your cores could be classified as a carry.
Oh, someone who can carry the game. Okay.
Yeah, so like you don't have an off laner, you don't have a mid laner, you have 3 carries.
Because Mars or Tide can't carry the game.
Yeah, they're not going to carry the game, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. That seemed really stupid. But it's
absolutely fine.
The definition of what a carry. Oh, they carry the game. I get it. Yeah, because Medusa can carry the game, Ursa can carry the game, Sven can carry the game. An off lane mostly disrupts and just kind of makes it miserable for everyone.
So, you were pushing mid a pretty good amount, then you rotated to top, took a fight. The only thing I'm seeing here is a little bit of mana management, but that's okay. Could be worse. You want to play between top and mid, and you're de-warding on your way there. That's great. Like, anytime if you're playing top and mid, where are you going to walk a lot? You're going to walk from here to here, right?
Yes.
So it's really important that you have ward vision there. Like, you're already doing that pretty well. So you're de-warding, you're giving yourself wards. This is all good. Just
you know what's so funny?
Good, but go ahead.
You know how I like kind of just realized it for myself. Like I know I'm supposed to ward, but kind of realizing why I was like how important it is when I was doing bot trading. I'm just like, it's so much easier to play here when I see who's over there. Like, I'm just like, it was just like my own. It's so much easier to play here.
Dude, the thing is that's what I've told people. Like, people say I need you to do advanced warding guides. Literally, I tell you guys what's important on the map. Can't you kind of figure out for yourself where you need vision to, like, do that job? It's like, I want to play top and mid. I really would like to see their jungle. Like, it's intuitive, right? Like, you came to your own conclusion.
And that sticks with me. Like, and I understand, like, you work with so many students and you know the right thing you say and you know they need to understand it, but everyone has their own moment of really getting it for themselves, right? You can't really force that on people. It's like, you're going to get it you're eventually going to see it for yourself. I saw it for myself when I was like, the absolute value for myself when I was doing bots. I'm just like, oh, I can do this so much better if I know who's there within this area, because I can see who's going to kill me. If they're gonna come at me, I can just go. Like it was just sharing that. Like that's how I really saw it for myself.
Hey, Ari, man, I'm gonna rewind right here. We're gonna slow-mo this.
Okay, Coach.
So we get a kill here. Maybe you weren't a part of it. Whatever. You know this guy should die because he's out front. Look at this. You guys got a kill. This is the highlight. We're gonna slow-mo it.
Okay.
Ari, he's like, oh, gotta clear this wave. Gotta help my team clear the wave.
Yes.
Wait a minute. This Sven doesn't need my help.
Yes.
That was a highlight of the game for me right there.
For you?
You got a kill, and it took you about a second to process it, but you're like, I don't need to help this guy clear this wave. And you walked away.
Oh, you're happy about... Oh,
you remember that, right? You remember that I told you if you don't need to help that guy clear the wave, if you get a kill, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
this is huge. Like, this is a big habit, because, like, that was slow, meaning... It took you about a second and a half to process it. But doing it at all is huge. This is what 90% of your support brackets do. People in your support bracket.
They just help.
They just sit here. Like, he's finally leaving with you too, but they just sit here for an extra 3, 4, 5 seconds. It's so important. Like, right now, I would argue that you shouldn't even be farming this camp. There's a mid lane for
Okay.
you to be pushing right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you could easily use this TP right now and push that mid lane. So kudos to you for leaving. The next step is always monitoring that mid lane. Just always, honestly, it's the only thing that matters. The side lanes we can talk about later. That mid lane is like... oh,
Always
man.
protected.
It's
Just
so
like-
important, man. It's so important. Mid lane is like the make sure my tower takes 0 damage. Like, if possible.
Like, over all both side lane towers.
Over every tower in the game, that mid-tier 1 has to have, like, the most influence on who wins the game. I swear. It's drastic.
Because they get so much access.
You guys
after
get
that.
basically free Roche because they have no tower. Like, they can't really play here anymore because this tower is gone. Like, they don't want to play here. Because it's so easy for you guys to just walk in from here. Walk in from... oops, sorry. Walk in from here. Walk in from here. It's like, it's actually really scary for them once they lose this tower. Because if they're right here, or like right here, if the tower's there, they know you have to be coming from here.
Okay.
They know you're not coming from here. Because that's like, the tower tells them that. It's literally there saying there's nobody there. Right? So, like, for you, it's the same thing on Radiant, where if I want to farm as a carry, I can walk from here to here safely. But if this tower is gone, if I ever want to go from this jungle to this jungle, I have to go whee, like all the way around.
And that's why mid-tier 1 is so
In
important.
mid-tier, it's just so much farm, it's so much map control, it's so much efficiency to keep that mid tower alive. So, like, you wouldn't gank the top because you saw that guy was out of position. Every single time you're not in the mid lane, do your best to remember to look at the mid lane.
Okay.
That's like that for you past 15 minutes is like honestly the most important thing for you right now. Like I think all supports need to get in that habit. Because this smoke could have been you pushing out the mid lane and then smoking, but now it's going to be a little bit forced, I think. But you guys are up by like 8,000 gold, so it probably will work anyways.
That's why I kind of enabled it. I'm just like, oh, they're just killing everyone.
It's good that you guys chose to run at them. I like what you chose to do. Because I told you get Roche invade triangle. That's like literally what you just did right there. And so
they ran like crazy. Yeah.
And that's great. And the only reason it's working as well as it is because you're up by 9k gold.
Exactly.
I would rather it be where you push mid lane first and then do that at all times.
Yeah. I
so
would
like
have
right
stayed
now,
if I knew.
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll go on, coach. Yeah, no, not important.
I just want you to remember, whenever you're pushing top like that, check mid. Guess what you do whenever you're pushing mid?
Check top. Check top.
I want you guys to remember, you and everyone watching, that when you're trying to take an objective, when you're trying to push an area, the only thing that's... the main deterrent is not actually people directly coming and killing you. The main deterrent is the opponent just pushing your towers too. That's actually the main deterrent in high tier Dota. Like, meaning like people understand why it's a deterrent in high tier Dota. So like split pushing is really good. So what I'm telling you is that if you're looking to push mid tower, your timer for how long it's efficient to be here, is top lane.
And when would you say, like, all right, I should really just let go of trying to take this tower, this mid tower?
The second top lane gets into top. This is now inefficient.
This is okay, I got it.
And so your Ursa TPs. It doesn't have to be you TPing. I just want to be very clear. It doesn't have to be you. But a great indicator for everyone to say wherever I am on the map is inefficient is the second top or mid is shoved into your tower. So like up here when it was like 21. So like I'm telling you as a support, you're supposed to push top and mid, right? That's what I told you. So whenever you're mid, however long you're allowed to stay mid is based on top. However long you're allowed to stay top is based on mid.
And however long I can go on my third lane is whether or not...
is based on both of those lanes.
Both of those lanes being pushed.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. That is exactly... If you watch my CM game back with that same mentality, I kept running from... I kept farming bottom for like one wave, but then I kept running back mid because the lane was pushed in. And I'm like, well, that's my timer. Gotta go.
And that was your top priority more than joining fights, right?
That was more than joining fights, yes.
It was like pushing my top two lanes, and then third, if I'm able, if the top two are okay, and a fight only if these if an objective is within, or a fight is within an objective I'm taking.
Yes, exactly. Because you're doing objectives correct. You went top tier 1, mid tier 1, then you guys took Roche, and then you're invading their triangle. Like, you're doing them in the right order.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel like I have to correct you on the right order. I'm going to, like, make sure I rehash that you are doing it in the right order, so you can feel confident about what you're doing. But you're doing it in the right order now, so rather than talking about the order, I'm going to talk to you about, now that you're doing it in the right order, every time you're pushing top, make sure mid's pushed in. If mid's not pushed in yet, go push it in, then go top. If you want to push top, or push mid, excuse me, make sure top's pushed in first, then go mid. Right? It's like, it's just a back and forth, back and forth. So it's like, if both lanes are pushed in, and bottom lane's pushed into you, that's when you can go bottom. It's like...
So, mid, safe, third tower.
Yep.
Okay.
So
mid, safe, dead lane.
Yeah, so I know I kind of rattled off a lot there, but you're already doing the map movements right. So I'm trying to get the little efficiencies down. Every time you walk top, where was it? I think it's like right... Let me fast forward. I think it's farther back, actually. It was like right...
It's, you know what my goal is, coach, just based on like these lessons and just kind of like how your educational smurf has really impacted me in terms of my progression and what I feel is important when playing a Dota game. It's I want to be able to rotate perfectly. When I say rotate perfectly, that's my goal. I'm just sharing my personal goal because I feel that's my bracket. Yeah. I want to be able, when you see my replays, it's like, all right, Ari, you rotated perfectly at the right time. Like, that is my personal goal for now, to be able to know when top doesn't need to be pushed anymore, to be able to know when I can just go back mid, to be able to know when I should not take this fight or take this fight. These are the things I'm honing now because honestly, coach, I think as a 5 in my bracket, I feel that that's how I can basically impact consistently if I get that down. That is my personal goal. Matchups and all of these other things are kind of like gonna follow.
I know we already saw this part and I rewound, but can I just say it is fucking hyped to me, and everyone else who plays support should get fucking hyped to see you macro pyre mid wave. That's coming. It's not even there yet. You macro pyred the wave, rotated towards top, de-warded on your way there. This is like... This is like, yes! Please! So this is perfect where you're pushing mid and now rotating top. This is exactly how it goes. So if you want to play top, make sure mid's pushed. You want to play mid, make sure top's pushed. So for you, you're actually playing the right areas. Let's just make sure the other lanes are cleaned up properly. So whenever it was that you went and killed Legion top, immediately check mid, because just know that's your timer. That's how long you're allowed to play here. So like when you went for this engagement in their jungle, it's fine because you pushed mid. Your timer is this wave right here in the mid lane. This is how long you're allowed to stay here before it's inefficient. When this lane gets into your tower, that is when that's how long you got. So it's like everything that happens top in this time is good. Like I don't like whatever this is fine. This is all fine with me. Everything here is fine, and it's purely based on this. So, like, right now, if you guys were still fighting, if you were still alive, you should say to yourself, BSJ, Coach B, he told me to peace the fuck out now that I see this.
Yes.
He told me I need to be here
now because these guys are coming
before
in.
these guys get there. Right?
Honestly, Coach, this is when things are moving well because I didn't really feel pressure from the enemy team because we're doing so well. It's 22-8 and we have such a gold lead. But it's when we feel the pressure.
The thing is, when you feel the pressure, that's because the game's closer. When the game's closer, they're going to be farming more. They're going to be pushing lanes more. You're going to have to deal with the lanes more often. The timer that you'll have to get back to mid will be shorter. So, like, all the decisions I'm having you make have to be crisper. So, like, you're saying...
That's it.
That you're saying it to me is that BSJ, when it feels like there's no pressure, I'm doing all the right stuff. But when the game is closer, I'm just not quite fast enough. And like for me, I mean that's exactly what I expect. Like I don't like that happens to me. Like in my games where I'm against people of comparable like farming prowess, like the game gets really frustrating because like they're pushing into me way more than or like as much as I'm pushing into them, right? So
they're doing the things I'm supposed to as well, but they're
Yeah.
doing it a little at the same level or slightly better. So I'm just like, wow, I can't do my job very quickly. And so you're just saying that's fine, that's normal. If they're doing it better than you, you just have to learn how to do it faster.
Well, the
and
thing
more
is, though, as a support in your bracket, say you're pushing waves like a 3 or 4K, but you're against
Yeah.
a Sven. Even if he's a 1K player, his hero like pushes waves better than you.
Yes.
So it's like you would have to be more efficient on Jakiro than he is on Sven in order to like push the lanes. Does that make sense?
I get it.
So it's
I
like
would have.
go ahead.
Go on. Can you say that again?
I was
Coach?
just going to
'Cause I
say
felt
that
important.
certain heroes push lanes faster than others. Even though Jakiro nukes them out, a hero like Sven or a PA, if she goes Battle Fury or something, they're going to clear the wave way faster than you do.
This PA won it for them, honestly. Like
PA
this
is really
def-
broken right now for sure, but I'm going to worry about anything you could have done better, and we're going to talk about
Yes.
little things to focus on. So right now, the biggest thing to focus on is whether or not you're walking or TPing from your lane. Whenever you
Got it,
decide to leave, you have that timer for like 7-8 minutes into the game. Just to ask yourself and go from there. I want you to be able to have an answer for me.
Nice.
I don't care what the answer is. I just want to hear it.
The Wind Ranger
So you're
Got it,
against
Coach.
Bristle. Now we need to start asking ourselves for starting items. Do I need a stick? Do
I was on
need a
autopilot.
stick?
Yes, Coach.
Yep.
I was in autopilot mode. I knew the mistake I did. I was like, wait, this should have been a stick. I wasn't even looking at and I was a bit tilted during this game.
Okay.
But because of the loss that came before this, which was very close, and it just felt frustrating.
Okay.
But yeah, the reason I'm highlighting this game is because I felt that I was just pushing the waves better than on this game than my last game, but it didn't quite go very well, or we didn't win the game. So that's why this is the game I highlighted. And
Okay.
Coach, I know we're on the clock, so I'll just just 15 minutes of this would be great.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make sure I get to anything major. So you went and pulled. You're gonna pull. Oh, you should have pulled again. The lane's not far enough forward, but they're letting you. Okay. So remember, lane has to be usually right here to like pull the big camp. So
Yeah.
otherwise, it's better to pull this one. So
Yes,
just rehashing that. Even though they let you do it, it doesn't make it correct.
Okay, so you're saying that prioritizing the short pull than that long pull is definitely much.
I'm just telling you in my bracket especially, but even in yours, even if they're less likely to do it, if you try to do what you just did there and the Witch Doctor walks over and stops it, it's like so bad. It's just so bad. So
got
we
you.
need to prevent that from happening. So like
Okay,
we're just playing like we've talked about in the past, the statistically optimal play. Once again, if you're gonna play off lane like this, what do we need?
If I'm gonna play off
Like if you're gonna be pulling a lot, playing away from your carry, what do we need?
salve.
Salve. Another carry bites the dust because you didn't salve him.
Okay, I got you.
He's
I got
farming
you,
underneath
Coach.
tower
That's-
with 400 HP missing.
That's important. Let me put caps lock.
Big
salve
one
my-
on the salve. You've literally
Yeah.
gotten your carries killed twice, playing the lane correctly, but just not buying him a
Not
salve.
having a salve. Okay, Coach, that you've highlighted that properly. Trust me, I have caps lock salve
Okay.
on my notes. Yes.
I actually mentioned in my Smurf game, and just to rehash for everyone who wasn't watching earlier, it's just like the more you're pulling, the more creep damage your carry's going to take. He's going to be
Radiant's bottom
tanking
tower is
under
under
tower
attack.
and all that kind of stuff.
This
So
BB was
you're
so
basically
annoying.
enabling yourself to pull by buying him salves. Like all
Sorry,
the
I went
XP
for
and
the-
gold you're getting is basically your price to pay is by buying the salve. Okay, so he's farming that camp.
So that's why I shifted a bit.
Yeah, no, that was good. Like you sitting last time he was at the camp, you just sat there. That was the last
Yeah, no.
coaching session.
Then I shifted. Yeah, I remembered what you said. That okay,
That was good.
If they're dead, you just shift. Yeah.
That was very good, by the way.
Thank
Now
you.
your Sven is
Dire's top
in
tower
need of
is
something.
under attack.
What do you think
He's need
in?
of. It's something I do not have. It's just,
I'm just giving you shit. It's just funny because
Yeah,
like
no,
the
it's
lane's
fine,
actually being played pretty well despite the bad start.
It's just that gap of no HP is my problem now.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
Aerie,
the refuel the tank, Ari. Refuel the tank.
yeah, I guess
Dire's top tower is under
that
attack.
was definitely.
You know what's beautiful
So-
about this though, Ari? You guys are literally winning your lanes by levels and losing the tower because you're not solving your carry. That is how impactful it is, but it's hilarious. Like your carry
is, it is.
even though you died,
Yeah.
even though you didn't play this lane perfectly by any means, like you pulled the big camp instead of the small, you died.
Yeah.
Your carry's still gonna get more levels because you're doing the pulls and shit.
But
And you're losing
It's the
your
South.
tower anyway. That's like the funny part about it. So
yeah.
if you guys are topped off with sustain and everything, like this should not be happening. Like this is what really matters to you guys. So like this tower dying is like
that's it. It's the South.
for the first 5 minutes, that's your mid tower, right? Like that's your this tower is not taking any damage. So but for you, it's like a lot of times I have to teach people something they need to do better. For you, it's you're doing all the stuff fine. It's just at this point you're realizing, hey, I couldn't have taught you this, by the way. I couldn't have said to you, hey, Ari, you need to buy salves when you pull the small camp.
No.
People in the chat, whenever I say shit like that, go, why, BSJ? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, just do it, and you'll see why you need salves. So the great thing is that you are listening, you are doing what I ask you to do, and we're easily running into issues that you're seeing. I get a lot of support players come in and say, BSJ, am I really supposed to pull that much? My carries are feeding off the cooldown of my pull. And I would tell all of you guys, it's because you're not buying your carry salves.
Dire's middle tower
You have
is
to buy them
under
salves.
attack.
Like, that's just how it
have
goes.
to
So
buy
for
them.
you, I'm glad that you trusted me, and it's funny to see
Yes.
how you guys are winning your lanes and your carries are still dying. So it's actually
Yes.
a perfect example of you don't really know until you try it.
Yes, and it's so funny how in both games consecutively it's kind of showed like, hey, Ursa died, no salve. Sven's dying, no salve, and it's like an exclamation here because the tower just got taken like.
And it's
5
not a
minutes.
coincidence though, right? Because you're doing the things that are correct that are causing him to have that problem.
Yes.
So Sven is a carry we don't want to play with. Sven, he just wants to hit creeps. I want you to realize that the more people you play with, the more likely it is for them to have fights around them. The more you play with them, the more likely it is to have fights around them. So if you're playing with your farming carries like Sven, Anti-Mage, Faceless Void with no Chrono...
Drow.
Drow's a little bit different because she does a ton of damage, so maybe she wants your help. But like these really early heroes that want to like get farming items like Battle Furies, like PA's another one. Like I just got done with a game where I had to tell my Crystal Maiden to leave me alone like 6 times actually. I kept telling him to leave me alone. I kind of want to make another video about it, but you know, whatever. The point is like there are just certain heroes that don't want to be played with. So we talked about Ursa a bit, how he can get kills. Sven doesn't want you for the most part. It's like unless he's getting dove or like you're defending a tower, he doesn't really want you there. So now that you've lost this tower, it's like
Just leave.
Just leave.
Go to mid.
Well, treat it like the pull camp. Remember what happened with the pull camp? You were pulling it, and you pulled it, and Sven
left.
went over and
Yeah.
farmed it. You left. If Sven leaves, you're welcome to stay here.
But if he goes back there, I'm like, give it to him.
Yeah, just let him have it. So that same mentality you had of like, if I want to play away from this guy, as you applied in the lane, you applied it well in the lane. You did the exact thing. Now it's your turn to do it at 8 minutes into the game rather than the lane. So... this is just awkward for me. Like, I just see this and I'm like, my Sven that wants to be hitting creeps is now hitting heroes.
Yes.
These kills aren't even that great, even if we get them. That's kind of like... It's like, my Sven could have just been jungling, I could have just been farming mid. Like, that's kind of how I look at this.
I was still in laning stage mode.
Yep, that's why I told you 7-8 minutes. It's already 9, right? It's already too late. Like, I'm looking at mid lane right now. It's getting pushed into your tower. Mirana's taking it, so maybe it's fine that you don't come. But since your Sven left, it was fine for you to be staying top at this point. And you... so, like, this is a situation where... I just don't want you stagnating with your carry at like 8-9 minutes into the game. That's what I'm really trying to avoid by this instruction I'm giving you.
No, but that's what I'm getting. Before it was always just stay till the 10-minute mark. But when you said the words 7 or 8 minutes, like just raising the question, do I need to stay? Do I need to go? Does this guy need me or not? That's something that I'm gonna apply for in my next games for the next 2 weeks till we have our next session.
Awesome.
I mean, sometimes it just, sometimes it just doesn't register, but eventually...
If you get it 70% of the time, 40% of the time, that's more than zero. Like,
yeah, for sure. But the pushing of the lanes and honestly the bots, coach, I am dying less because of bot training. Like, I know, I feel it. I am dying way less in my pubs, in my ranked games.
Do you think you still want to be doing bot training? Like, what's your thoughts on it? Okay.
Absolutely, because sometimes I want to experiment on builds, and I think bot training is a really good way to do that.
Okay.
Like, I did a Mjolnir build on CM, just on bot train. I was 5, but I was like highest net worth with like the lead. Yeah, I was the highest net worth at the end of the bot games. So I'm just like, oh wow, this is what Mjolnir does. And just getting familiar with how a hero is survivable, that one I learned through bot training. Because you said push the lanes survivably. And for me right now, my favorite items are, for CM, is Glimmer Cape Blink. Because most of the time when I Glimmer, I can just blink away because even if they go on me, I can just blink by that time. So far, that's my survivable 2 items for CM, trying to get these objectives correct. Push the lanes, I mean.
I heard you. So, I was just watching this game while I was listening. And I think what I'm already seeing is a way better sign. And you've kind of... I think it is because of what you just told me about the bot games. You're kind of like learning what items you need to survive. You're learning what items you need to like do the proper job.
Yes.
And so, here's what I'm seeing right now. I want to highlight this for everyone. This is a huge thing for me. You were pushing bottom, and you pinged mid. You pinged mid saying, guys, this tower needs to be defended. And you started backing off. Somebody TP's mid. And now you're saying, you have this feeling of awkwardness. You don't really want to be here. I know, I can tell you feel it. I can tell you're like, this feels a little weird. And you smoke. Those are the times you're supposed to smoke. Where you're like, I feel a little awkward here. I want to be somewhere else. They just smoke.
Because I saw Sniper. I'm like, come here, Wind Ranger.
Yeah, this was so good. Like, I can't tell people, like, it bothers me in NA especially so often, even at my bracket area, even at my bracket, supports like this. They'll just sit bottom and wait for something to happen. If the game feels awkward and you feel like you're supposed to do something, like, it's an internal feeling, right? You feel it. You're like,
I'm like, this is not. I am not controlling the game the way
I can't tell you when it's right to smoke. You have to like trust this inner gut to be like, we're supposed to do something right now, and you're like, I don't want to do it here. You're like, my ogre just TP'd mid. My Sven's dead. I don't want to be bottom. I want to go on the sniper. This is like, I didn't teach any of this shit. I didn't teach any of this shit, but it's like, it's so good. It's like, I watch this and I'm like, dude, like, this is better smoke ganks than half of the supports I get, man. Like, fuck.
Thanks,
it's unbelievable. Like, this is great.
We got the sniper kill.
This is incredible. You guys forced reactions bottom, then you went mid, then you killed their squishy mid. Now, the only thing I want you to realize is dewarding might be a bit greedy. Like, just remember, anytime you go on their sniper, they're probably gonna do something about it. So that might have been a little.
I was a bit like tunnel. I tunnel visioned a little.
It was a good thought. So if you think to yourself, I should deward this area, usually it's when you're like, okay, they've shown me I'm allowed to do this. Like, you see 2 heroes top and 2 heroes bottom or something. So you're like, I'll keep in mind, I want this area dewarded, but I'm going to wait until they're somewhere else. Because as a support, that skill alone is what prevents you from feeding when you go deward. Because it's like, people are like, but I dewarded. It's like, well, it's obvious that 3 of them are camping that ward and they're just going to kill you. It's like, I just want you to remember that, like, if you go on them where their wards are, that's why that smoke was so good. Because when the game feels awkward, it's usually because the opponent has control of the game. Usually that's why it feels awkward. And that's why smokes are usually so good, because if they have control of the game, that usually means they have wards. And that means that if you want something to be successful, if you want to catch them off guard, you have to smoke for it. So,
got it.
We're seeing this here. Okay, so
This was like I did my best to try to rotate as much as possible, but at the end of the day, it was just like it wasn't working out.
You were trying to force something mid, and my issue here for you and everyone
We're
watching
all mid. We're all
is
mid.
just this. Remember last game?
Yeah, coach.
The timer for when it becomes inefficient is when the other lane is at your
Coach.
tower.
Coach, trust me. Coming from this session, I definitely got what I wanted from it, because this like has already will influence my next execution for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like the biggest one for me is whether or not what's the word? Two really big things: mid, safe lane, dead lane.
Yep.
I can only go dead lane if mid and safe are okay. It's now, trust me, I definitely got what I needed from this session. And an additional one was whether or not to walk or whether or not to TP. If you TP, you're stuck there. If you walk, you have options. And
what
the
I want to
7
bring up to you, though, I need to interrupt you just because this may not even be something I have to tell you. It might be just for people watching. The reason why your rotation mid was successful was because you first went bottom, and then they responded to you, and then the game felt weird, and you're like, okay, let's go mid now. It's like, now you're mid, the game should feel weird because of this. And now you need to stop this, right? Like,
Coach,
up until this point, that was great. It was great for you to, like, whatever you were doing mid, I don't want you to feel like, maybe it feels weird, but it should feel fine if this lane is over here.
Thank you so much.
Fine.
This is super. Okay. This is super helpful. This is like super helpful because I know what I need to do now. This was like the missing piece for me. I'm just like, I know I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do, but there's something off that I'm not adding to this that I'm not doing. And it's this. It's understanding when things are inefficient and awkward.
Yep, and for you, that first one was great. The smoke was like the perfect response. And in this one, since it's not near a tower or anything, you just like TP or walk there. It doesn't have to be like some fancy gank. So so that was great. This is good signs, but now hopefully, like you said, you got the tools. I highly encourage everyone who's like nervous to try these things. Aries said it's worked out great. I was kind of confident that it would help. Like I wasn't.
It was
100%
It was
sure.
Extremely helpful. Like, I would say 50 to 100% impact to my game.
I can see the difference. I can definitely see it. And I was really happy to see this session today because I'm curious, man. If you just buy like 2 salves a lane, I feel like your lanes are gonna just be infinitely better. The goal would be in the future is all these things I start teaching you, you will see the repercussions of them. Like eventually. It's like if you're spamming lanes all the time, like you are in your bot matches, you'll notice how many more clarities you need. It's like if you're pulling the lane for your carry all the time, you'll notice you need to buy them salves. It's like you'll start to notice these things because that's how the high level players learn it. Like we don't like theory craft this shit. We literally pull the lane and we notice our carries taking 400 extra damage, and we're like, oh, I guess we need to buy him a salve. So that's it's been great. So any final questions, buddy, before we leave you
Coach,
to the...
No, I absolutely got everything I needed. Trust that I will apply these things. Definitely, I have a tier and a rank now for valuing which towers to rotate to and which ones to protect and defend, which lanes to push out. The 7 or 8 minute one, whether my carry needs me here or wants me here or not, I will apply that. So you can trust that I will try to apply this within our next session for the laning stage replays. And the TP one, walk or TP there. That's
just a question to ask yourself so we can start talking about it. Because just like these moments that you're making these rotations or you're staying, notice how many talking points we had here, right?
Yes.
So it's like if you just start thinking about it, you're going to do it right or wrong. Doesn't matter. We can just start talking about it. That's the goal. And the beauty that it sounds like for you in bot games is you're more willing to kind of just follow your gut because, like, if you're wrong, who cares? And for some people out there, like, that's completely normal. It's like your nerves of maybe making a ballsy call and then having it be wrong is what's actually preventing you from making the call. So I noticed you did make more aggressive calls in these games, and that's like the number one thing I noticed from the lanes or from the bot matches effect. So I want you to keep doing that, and just a little reminder to keep doing to just do 5 minutes of A stop A at the start of every day.
Got it.
Just 5
minutes
minutes.
with limit.
Doesn't have to be much.
A-stop.
It will really help you. It will really help.
5 minutes. It's so funny how you said 5 minutes of of what you said, like how these things are boring. But honestly, it's just by doing this. I did the bot games, coach. It has impacted my.
It
game.
makes the other games, like when you're actually playing, it makes them so much more enjoyable, right?
Fun!
Like, that's what the goal is. Like, I don't want to watch you try to apply my concepts with the efficiency like not being good. Like, I just don't want, like, I don't think you want to do it either. It ain't gonna work. Right? So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that like, for everyone watching, I'm not trying to give you boring shit. I'm trying to make the game more enjoyable by maybe tanking a little bit of boringness. But at the same time, personally, Ari, I think when you are working on something, even if it's in a bot match, if you know you're working on it and you can tell you're getting better at it, it's actually enjoyable anyways. I personally think that, at least.
No,
So,
I agree with you. I
yeah.
agree with you. Like, I enjoyed my bot matches so much because of what I knew I needed to learn. And trying out like different builds as well. I'm like, hey, maybe this could work, maybe that would work. And one of the main things I learned from, like, I played with unfair level for bots.
Yeah.
You win a game by out pushing them. That's it. Because these bots become inefficient because they are programmed to be the most efficient by pushing lanes.
Yeah.
Because if you team fight them, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. Like, it's just. But the way I won the game, I'm like, oh, I have such control of the game now because I'm pushing top and then thing. And now they're like, oh, we have, like, they're kind of a little bit paralyzed, or they're not being as efficient as possible because I've prevented them from doing that. And it's honed by instinct of which fights to take and which not to take a bit as well. So
You know what the funny
like,
thing is we don't all have like this innate sense of like, oh, it's worth buying salves, for instance.
Yeah.
I think the reason why players learned to buy so much regen, like mangoes and salves in the laning stage, was when they released OpenAI, those guys were ferrying themselves like 5 salves, like a laning stage. And what was happening was the OpenAI was just shoving the building. And it's like, if the opponent has 5 salves and they're killing your building, those 5 salves more than paid for themselves. So it's like, I think people actually learned from OpenAI to ferry themselves a ton of regen as long as it allows them to defend their shit. Like, as long as it allows you to defend, it's worth it. And it's like, in my bracket, if I do it and the other guy doesn't, he's going to lose his tower. Like, that's just how it's
and
gonna
they
go.
listened because these OpenAI bots were holding their own against pros.
Yeah,
they're
and
just
that's
like,
the thing, is like, it's like a quick
that's why they
adjustment
listen.
from us. We're like,
They're
holy
like,
shit, you know?
wait, this is OG. Wait, these are pros. Wait,
Yep.
wait. And then it forced them to pay attention to. But the thing is, for noobs, it was available for us with the bots. They're just
Yep.
like, there was something to learn already. It was there.
Yep. The bots are not perfect by any means, but I think any low pressure environment's really good for people because we all create own pressure on ourselves. I think it's
Yes.
important. Like, whenever I'm practicing a new hero, I like to go on my 7K account because I know I'm going to lose more games than I win if I play on my main, and that like makes me feel like shit. It makes me not want to enjoy playing it, and I still only win about half of my games because like I'm playing a new hero. But like, I'd much rather be in a low stress environment because I'm going to be more willing to mess up. I'm going to be more willing to push my
learn.
limits and learn. Exactly. So, okay, buddy. Until next time, then. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Keep me posted.
Thank
as
you
always.
so much, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Coach B. I appreciate it, man. This was a super helpful one, and count on hopefully seeing some really good results
I'm
after
ready.
2 weeks.
I was happy with what I saw today, Ari. I told you I'd be
Nice.
upset, and I'm not upset. So,
Nice. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. Take care, man.
no problem. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
That's, dude. I don't know, man. I know Aries taken a little bit of time to like come full circle, but I have to believe these sessions have been like some of the best educational content ever. I have to believe they have been. It's really cool to watch Ari apply what I'm asking him to apply and seeing it slowly but surely pay off. If you enjoy this type of content, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because at the end of the day, the YouTube algorithm cares about all 3 of those things, even though I may not. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you next time.